As Inosuke Hashibira and Zenitsu Agatsuma watch Tanjiro push a massive boulder, Zenitsu's sparrow Chuntaro races toward them with a letter gripped in its claws. While Inosuke is even more fired up to get his own stone moving, Zenitsu's over-the-top reaction is interrupted by Chuntaro's urgent chirps to read the message. Meanwhile, Tanjiro keeps up the effort and pushes the stone to the required 350 feet to finish his training. Completely out of gas and severely dehydrated, Tanjiro lies on the ground gasping. A splash of water hits his face. It's Gyomei Himejima, the stone Hashira, to the rescue. Gyomei pours more water on Tanjiro's face until he's feeling better. The Hashira compliments the young demon slayer on completing his training, as well as on making the right choice in the swordsmith village. Tanjiro is slightly confused, and Gyomei explains that he nobly picked the villagers' lives over his sister's. Tanjiro says he can't take credit for that, as he was paralyzed by indecision until Nezuko made the choice herself. When Tanjiro says he doesn't deserve recognition for his actions, Gyomei is touched by his earnestness. Gyomei begins to tell Tanjiro the story of how he became a demon slayer. Years ago, he was the guardian of the children in a temple orphanage. Their days were warm and peaceful. While they didn't have much, they had each other, until the day one of the older children stayed out past dark. He was chased by a demon, and desperate to save himself, offered it the lives of Gyomei and the other 8 children in his place. He destroyed the wisteria incense Gyomei left burning outside and let the demon inside. Even though the sightless Gyomei was slender and timid in those days, he attempted to protect the kids and told them to stay behind him. But some of them, too afraid to listen, tried to run away. All but the youngest met a grisly fate. To protect her, Gyomei killed the demon with his bare hands, showing incredible strength he didn't know he possessed. He was repulsed by the feeling of striking a living being. When the authorities arrived in the morning, the confused girl called Gyomei the monster, and he was arrested. That day, Gyomei's tears started falling and they never stopped. Kagaya Ubuyashiki intervened before Gyomei was executed, he tells Tanjiro, and since then he's been distrustful of people. He feels their true nature emerges when they're threatened. But Tanjiro is different, Gyomei says, pure and single-minded. He pledges to help Tanjiro stay on his path. He gives Tanjiro a pat on the head as the demon slayer's own tears begin to fall. Later, during lunch, Genya, Shinazugawa, Inosuke, and Tanjiro talk about Gyomei. While Gyomei couldn't train Genya in breath techniques, he did take him as an apprentice when he discovered Genya was eating demons to gain power. Inosuke tries to eat Zenitsu's share since he's a no-show, but Tanjiro gently scolds him. Tanjiro gets ready to leave for the last stage of training with Water Hashira Giyu Tomioka, but he wants to bring Zenitsu his lunch first. He finds Zenitsu sitting on his boulder, uncharacteristically calm and quiet. Tanjiro tells him he's been worried since he hasn't said much the past few days. The yellow-haired demon slayer wishes Tanjiro well and tells him that it's become clear to him what he has to do. Zenitsu doesn't elaborate further, though, and thanks Tanjiro for worrying about him, but this is something he has to do himself. Tanjiro walks the path to Giyu's training ground, lost in thought. He worries about Zenitsu, as well as Nezuko, who's been without him for a while now. He hears the sound of wooden swords striking each other and runs forward to find Giyu and Wind Hashira Sanemi Shinazugawa fighting. Water-breathing and wind-breathing clash, lighting up the training ground with flashes of green and blue. Tanjiro realizes that he can follow their movements for the first time. Their wooden swords break simultaneously from the power of their attacks. Sanemi grins and says next time they'll use their bare hands to kill each other, and Tanjiro jumps in front of Giyu, misunderstanding that it was just a training duel. He asks Sanemi if they're fighting about red bean mochi. His superhuman sense of smell often picks that scent up from Sanemi. Embarrassed, Sanemi punches Tanjiro and storms off. Giyu is happy to find out his favorite food. However, as darkness falls, the wind, Hashira is muttering to himself when he suddenly senses one of Nakime's eyeball creatures. He crushes it in his hand as he realizes the Demon Slayer core has been discovered. Muzan has finally found Ubuyashiki. The Demon King strides toward his mansion, confident now that his nemesis is finally in his sights. The leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, too ill to move, simply turns his head as Muzan approaches. There's no fear in Ubuyashiki's voice as he greets his mortal enemy, and that's the end of this episode. If you want to watch more anime-explained videos, Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, follow our Instagram page and join our WhatsApp group for the latest updates.